So the other day, in comments on the channel, someone said, is hopping mead a thing? And I said, yeah, of course it is. We've done it a couple times, haven't we?
We've hopped some things, I don't know.
But I don't really remember what they were, and I don't think we have ever made a basic hopped session mead. So today we're making a basic hopped session mead. Very, very simple.
What is a session mead, Brian?
It's a made-up term is what it is. It's a session mead by definition means nothing, okay? But the general usage of the term means usually a lower ABV mead, often dry, often canned, and very often carbonated. Sometimes hopped, you could add fruit flavors, things like that. So it's basically like just a low ABV. It's a hydromel. That's exactly what it is a hydromel. But a session mead goes a little further. They usually make those carbonated and often hopped. And
Sure.
Yeah, so that's a session mead. It's not a term I actually like because
BC hydromel?
it's almost like a type of hydromel.
Right.
By the way, a lot of people use it. For this, we are going to be using Sweet Squeeze Orange Blossom Honey. Now, we went for Orange Blossom for two reasons. One, we have about 1 pound left in this particular bottle.
And two, our hops selection that will come later is known for its citrus notes.
Right. So I'm going to be using just 1 pound of honey. Very simple, as long as it all comes out.
Ta-da!
1 pound. Still got a little bit left for tea. To that 1 pound of honey, I'm going to add 128 ounces of
Warmish
water, body temperature water. I'm doing a little over a gallon batch here because we're going to end up with roughly a gallon. This is a 5-liter container. We call this the TARDIS fermenter. We can't really call it that because that's been trademarked.
Trademarked for some reason.
Yeah, but we like to call it that because it's really like super sized
It's
perfectly.
super compact.
It's just great.
So it just appears to be larger on the inside.
And we'll have links to these in the description. If you purchase anything through our links, we do get a little bit of a commission at no extra cost to you, but it does keep the show going. So you might be wondering why I'm not mixing that pound into a full total gallon of must. Mostly because it's just easier to measure out a gallon of water and a pound of honey and mix them together. That's the truth. And after racking and lees loss and things like that, we'll end up with roughly a gallon. 1 pound of honey takes up about 11 ounces of fluid space, just to give you an idea. And we're going with the 5-liter container because that way we have some extra head space. As you can see, yep, it's actually not that much because I did add a gallon to it. So it's up to about here. That's pretty cool.
So if you are limited to a 1 gallon fermenter, you're not going to be able to use a full gallon of water plus that honey.
But you can do this in a 2-gallon bucket. You can do this in a 3-gallon fermenter if you really want to. Just seems like a waste of space to me. Headspace is a good thing in primary because it keeps it from bubbling over and making a mess. By the way, I'm going to mix this up using the spattle. It's a spoon, it's a paddle, it's both. Get yours in the description below. I named it. I'm proud of it. And when you're mixing this up, you can be a little sloppy. It's okay. Get some air in there. You actually want oxygen in the primary phase of fermentation because it helps the yeast to build a nice strong colony before they get to work. You just don't want to splash it too much. Like, don't splash it on your partner. Now, the advantage to using a warmer water and a warm honey at that is they blend together really well. The disadvantage to the TARDIS style fermenter is there's a lot of little nooks and crannies on this. Let me see if I can show you. Like,
there's an area designed for a spigot. It doesn't come with a spigot in this particular model, but the cutout or the formation
makes for a little difficulty around the honey. It's not too bad though. I mean, I think I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just want to mix thoroughly. Now, here's the thing. You can do this without mixing at all, okay?
We've actually did a test recipe where we didn't mix anything at all and it came out just fine.
The disadvantages are, A, you're not going to get much aeration or oxygenation in the beginning, and B, you don't have an accurate reading. So if you accidentally added way too much honey, like some people say, I accidentally added 6 pounds of honey when I meant to put in 2.
How do you do that?
I don't know how that happens, but if you did that, you would know almost immediately that you have messed up. Although if you did that in this one, it'd fill it halfway. So
sure.
I'm pretty sure you'd know. And I'm not making fun of anyone that's ever done that.
No.
It just seems a little odd to me.
If you do ever accidentally add too many fermentable sugars into your brew, split it into two if you have an extra fermenter, or put it into a larger fermenter and add more water.
Okay, I'm gonna take a gravity reading on this. I'm expecting it to be somewhere around like a 1.030-ish, which will net us somewhere in the 4 to 5% ABV range once it ferments out. So it'll be a nice, crisp, refreshing summer brew. And what do you know? 1.030. Okay, so like I said, this should go to about 4-ish%. With natural carbonation, it'll go just a little bit higher. It gives about 0.5% or so.
If you're using a triple scale hydrometer, like the one we have linked in the description below, and the one we're using today, you can go to that number on the...
It's right here.
Yep. And then move it around to the potential gravity indicator, and it'll tell you
4%.
Ta-da!
Dead on, 4%. Now, natural carbonation will actually add a little bit more because it is a slight bit of fermentation, so it'll actually be like 4.5%.
Speaking of fermentation, it's time to add some yeast so that way this will ferment.
Yes, there is wild yeast in honey. I don't know if the wild yeast in that particular honey is valid anymore because
It's been here for quite a while.
I also basically pasteurized it last week because it was crystallized.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bet that it didn't work. It won't work. And wild yeast is kind of unpredictable. I know a lot of people, yeah, they're wild. It's unpredictable because there is no strain that is wild yeast. It's millions of different strains, just like, commercialized yeast. They are handpicked to be just that strain and do certain things. Whereas wild yeast is anything. And they could range anywhere, like they might have an alcohol tolerance of 5%. They might have an alcohol tolerance of 15%. And you never know what you got until you do it. So it's safer to use commercial yeasts.
In other words, wild yeasts are wildly unpredictable.
Yeah. But if you want to use that, go for it. It's just going to be a lot harder for us to try to help you if things don't go exactly right. I have a half packet here of Red Star Premier Classique. Now this goes into the teens for ABV percent, but that doesn't mean this is going to go into the teens for ABV percent because it can only go as much as the sugars added. I have half packet.
It's also well known to be used in crisp and clear red or white.
Full-bodied red and white wines.
Yes.
Yep. So because this is going to be a dry, full-bodied red and white dry wines.
This is going to be a white.
Yeah, this is kind of like a white dry-ish wine, sort of.
And that is all we're going to put in this for now.
Right, because we're going to let this ferment out, and then in a week or two, we'll show you the next step. Okay, this has been going for about a week, so it's time to take a look at it and see if it's ready, because this was a very, very low starting gravity, 1.030. Super low. Might be done. It could happen. I'm gonna say probably not though.
Yeah, we still got movement in
You
there.
can see movement in there, yeah. But it's okay. I think we're gonna move on to the next step regardless. I just like to know. That's a little close. Just, too much stuff. Knocking stuff around. Okay, maybe we won't be moving on to the next step yet. It's at like 1.018. It barely moved. So, it's okay. No worries. Gonna take our sample, pour it right back in.
If I wasn't seeing the lava lamp movement in the container, I might...
Fight to move forward?
No, I might be concerned. I think
Yeah.
it's just taking its sweet time.
Yeah, it's fermenting. It's just taking a while. So I want to give this a little bit of a swirl too. See if we can, degas it slightly. It's not necessary. It's fun. And it makes a mess. You can leak it all out the side if you're not careful. But hey, that's the fun of homebrewing. Just getting to make a mess, and it has meaning.
Is that what it is?
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So we're gonna let this go for another week, and we'll be back to show you that. Okay, it's been another week. It was at 10:18 last time, which sounds a little high personally, but hey, it could take a little while. It's all right. It's a basic mead, nothing fancy about it. So let's take another reading and see how it's doing. Just beginning to clear, I think. So it might be close to finished. I'll admit, it's a long time for this low of a gravity because it started at 1.030. This is taking a lot longer than I thought it would.
Still a little bit gassy there.
Oh yeah, but wow, it's very gassy.
Yep.
Just degassed the sample slightly, but it went to 1.000. So while 1.000 may not mean totally dry, it's dry enough for our purposes, which means it's more or less not going to ferment much further, so it's safe to move forward. So I'm just gonna very carefully pour this sample back in.
Now, if this was our final product right as it is, we would wait another week and take another gravity reading just to be certain. But we got a lot more going on, so that's why we're not as worried.
Okay. Next, I'll get out my jeweler scale. Contrary to what some people like to call it, that's not what it is. It's a jeweler scale. It actually says it right in the listing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I'm going to set this to ounces. You could use grams if you want to. I'm going to be using ounces today because, okay, my bowl was too heavy. So instead, I'm going to use a piece of paper. I'm going to do some origami. Never seen me do this before on the show. I can make frogs and cranes and all sorts of stuff.
You need to learn to make a paper bowl, apparently.
Yep, and it's really simple. I'm just gonna crimp the corners.
Are you gonna do the dumpling?
I'm just making a simple bowl type thing. It's not really gonna hold because it doesn't have to. You just fold over the corner, sort of fold over the corner. I just need it to hold hops for 2 seconds. That's all it is. Okay, so I made a little, the worst origami boat ever.
Yeah.
That actually weighed 0.023 ounces. That's how sensitive these scales are. That's why for this kind of thing, you want to use a scale that goes this far. It goes to thousandths of an ounce, which is really tiny.
All right, so in
Hold on. Okay, what?
your notes, I put 1 ounce. 1 ounce is too much.
1 ounce is for 5 gallons. In research, people say 1 to 1.5 ounces of hops for 5 gallons. Since we're making 1 gallon, wow, you smell that?
I do.
That's some strong stuff. Smells like an IPA in here now. I went with 0.3 because we're only dry hopping. We don't have hops added in during a boil because we didn't do a boil because this is a session mead, not a beer. But we are going with Citra hops because we kind of wanted that classic IPA style hop flavor, and that's why I'm going with the upper end of the hop
Plus,
edition.
we used orange blossom honey, so we wanted to accentuate any citrus notes that may be in the honey. It's funny, we didn't appreciate IPAs, and I'm not going to say it, but we appreciate them now.
We went to a place that specializes in a lot of beer, and we liked it.
We did.
And it was good. And we brought some of that appreciation home and started adding it to our brews. It was Belgium, okay? Anyway, so I know she didn't want to say it, but now I have 0.3 ounces of hops. If I haven't mentioned it in this video already, I'm going to mention it right now. We saw, when we researched, we saw 1 to 1.5 ounces of hops being used for dry hopping. Now, that may or may not have included during a boil for a beer. This isn't a beer, this is a mead, so we don't have the boil.
And that was also for 5 gallons.
That was for 5 gallons as well.
This
So
is not 5 gallons.
I went with, the higher end because we wanted to have an IPA-like feel, but we didn't want to put in 1.5 ounces. So we're doing 0.3 ounces. And we just put the lid back on. She's being all gentle and careful. I'm like, just get it on there. Now, the hops will hydrate and they will fall apart and they will do their thing in there, and that's all good. We want it to do that.
And that's what you have to do when you're dry hopping. It's just a really simple dump and go situation.
Now, that should sit for 7 to 10 days because we have pretty much a weekly recording schedule. We're going to check this in 1 week. See you then. Okay, so it's been another week. This stuff's been dry hopped. It's sitting on the hops. Let's give it a smell, see how it smells.
It looks hoppy.
It smells like hops.
I don't even want to say what it was.
They say 7 to 10 days. I'm good. You got to see this. This is Hop Session Mead. Look at this. It's just like pure hop goop across the top here. That's insane. Wow. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to rack it through something. And by rack it through something, I mean the rumble jar. Now, there are the hop canisters that you can use for that too. I forget what the actual name of it is, but we're going to use the rumble jar because it's convenient, it's easy, and we have one. So we're just going to place it gently into the must. It's not too bad once you get past the hoppiness. And put the destination. Everything's been sanitized, can you tell? It's all drippy and
Like, what are you doing?
I'm dumping out the excess liquid that's in there. And I don't have the cap on my auto siphon because I don't really need it for this. And just gonna get that started.
You probably want to be
And then
in charge of that.
I'm going to hold it.
All right.
It's actually fairly clear. It's coming out pretty good. The intent on a brew like this is to be something super simple, easy to make, crisp, refreshing, but with, that hops thing that Derek is starting to really appreciate hops because they seem to mellow her a bit. Isn't it a thing for you? Like it makes her just a little mellow. It's been said that hops are related to things that have cannabinoids in them. So who knows? It seems to do that though. Like if I have a couple of beers at night, I generally feel a little more mellow than if I had mead or whiskey. So using the calculator, teacher said I would never have handy. I'm going to do two things, not one, but two things. So we ended up with 132 ounces of total product at the end. That's another reason to use the 5 liter, 1.5 gallon buckets. Oh, so awesome. You end up with a full gallon.
And to use this pitcher because of the numbers.
Yeah. By the way, you'll probably see a little QR code right up here in the corner. We started doing that recently as a way for those that watch TV to be able to just scan that and then you can order it directly from Amazon. Yes, we are Amazon affiliates. Yes, we do get a small commission if you do that. It does not cost you anything more, but we'll also have links in the description for most of the other stuff that we use. But the picture is just so great. Have a QR code. Okay, so 132, and I know that we're using mostly Guinness bottles, which are 11.4 ounces. And that means 11.57 bottles. So let's call it 12 bottles. Now, what I mean by that is we reuse bottles because why not? I like Guinness. I tend to drink a 6-pack or so every now and then. So we need 12 bottles.
So all we need to purchase with repurposing those bottles are the crown caps and our favorite bottle capper.
Okay, so now we have our 132 ounces. We've calculated how many bottles we need. Before we put it into those bottles, there's one thing we like to do, and that is to add our priming sugar, which is used for a natural carbonation. A natural carbonation is just a very small controlled fermentation. You notice this went dry. This is 1.000. So there's really not enough sugars in here to do anything, meaning if it re-ferments, it's not going to do much of anything at all. But by adding priming sugar, we can get it to create those bubbles. And by doing it under a closed cap on the bottle, it creates pressure, which means it makes fizz when you open it up and you get a little pop and it's nice, I don't know why I'm still talking, but anyway, so the amount of priming sugar we're gonna use is 42 grams, which also is 1.5 ounces and is also the answer to life, the universe, and everything. We use that much because we used to actually use just 1 ounce. And it did okay sometimes, but it didn't always give enough carbonation. We also have switched from using swing tops for carbonating in because, well, the seals might not be as good as we think they are. And I believe that allowed a lot of pressure to escape. Since we switched to using the actual bottle caps, it's been great. Plus 11.4 ounces is like the perfect serving size. It's probably why a lot of beer comes in that size. You do want to mix this through. Now, I know a lot of people like to just put like a teaspoon or whatever measure of sugar into each bottle. You can do that if you really want to. I prefer to be a little bit more precise, and by putting it all into this batch, it's easier for me to make sure that they're all getting the exact same amount, so I don't have one bottle has more and one bottle has less, because when you measure out granulated stuff down that small, it's really hard to be super precise. And by mixing in a plastic pitcher like this, I know when it's mixed. If you listen, no granularity in there. There's no scraping sounds, so we're good.
All right, so now that our priming sugar is thoroughly dissolved into our liquid, we're gonna go ahead and rack these to bottles. We have a full video on our bottling procedure. I'll make sure to link it in the description below if you aren't familiar.
Plus you already saw us rack something, so we're just gonna get in the bottles and we'll be right back. Apparently, ours goes to 11. I may have overfilled the bottles just a little bit more than I usually would. It doesn't hurt anything, but that way, that half a bottle, that 11.56 or whatever, turned into 11 bottles, which means these are probably really 12-ounce bottles. But at this point, this mead has been sitting for a while. And yes, this is a mead. We mentioned that, right? It's been sitting for a while. So I can't guarantee that the yeast are active anymore. So if we want to carbonate and carbonate successfully, I'm going to use what we call insurance yeast. It does not matter what kind of yeast is in this package. It could be bread yeast because this is a very low ABV beverage. By the way, I never did the second thing that I was going to do with the calculator. Let me do it right now. I did the one. The second was actually to calculate our ABV. So we started at 1.030, we ended at 1.000. So you just subtract 1.000 from 1.030, you get 0.03 times 131.25, which is just the magic number. It just works. And we get 3.9375. Now, I know that this type of natural carbonation is about 0.6% ABV. So that means we're sitting at about 4.5 ABV, which is perfect because Derica wanted something low ABV and I never seem to do it.
Yay!
Okay.
Back to the insurance yeast.
Insurance yeast is just there to make sure that it ferments, okay? Because natural carbonation is a small fermentation. So if there isn't enough yeast or live yeast left in the bottles to consume the sugar that we just added, it doesn't carbonate. So I just want to add a little tiny bit. And when I say a little tiny bit, I mean literally like just a few grains, not much at all. As you can see, just a few grains going in. Oh, maybe a couple more than that. There we go. That's it. That's insurance yeast. I'm just going to add this to the bottles, just a little bit in each one, and then we're going to cap them off with our favorite tool. By the way, strictly speaking, insurance yeast is not absolutely necessary. I know a lot of people have never done it and they have great success. It just seems like every time we don't, it fails. So we're doing the best we can. I think a lot of the time it was actually the swing tops though. I don't think it was so much the yeast, but hey, you know what? There's really very little downside to this other than you get a little bit of lees in the bottom, but you do for natural carbonation anyway. Yeah. So that's why it's insurance. You never know you need it until you need it. And once you need it, it's too late if you didn't do it.
Yep.
So, yeah. Okay.
So we have a technical difficulty with using our favorite bottle capper, and that's this table sucks. So we're just going to
do it on the stool.
On our bench or stool.
Just do it on the stool.
All right. Which is still kind of wobbly too.
Yeah,
but
well, it's better than the other thing. This is our bottle capper. You probably can't see it because it's blocked up by all the bottles. So we're going to move some bottles. If you've ever watched us do a natural carbonation, you've seen this thing before. It's wonderful. This is from North Mountain Supply. I'm going to put a QR code for this too. It's fantastic. If you have the old butterfly style and you're frustrated, get one of these. Trust me, it'll change your life. This is probably the best tool for bottle capping.
If you think you're going to get into capping and you're looking to buy equipment, I would say wait, save your money, or put it on your gift-giving list to get one of these.
Yeah.
It's really that worth it.
Yep. And you just put the bottle cap up here. It's magnetized. Line it up. And
see the yellow mark? That's where your
the top of the bottle should go here, and it's adjustable in the back. And then it literally says one finger. Ideally, you want this bolted down to a table, and we will have that. Oh yes, we will. But not quite yet. The AC guys come next week. All right, and I put it in, turn it 180, and crimp it down one more time. And that's pretty much it. So we're gonna do all the rest of these, and then all these bottles will go into what we call the bomb shelter, which is really just a big tub from Lowe's.
Yeah, it's a big heavy-duty plastic tub. The reason why we put them in there is so that just in case something goes awry and we have a failure, be it
also known as a bottle bomb.
Normally it's because there's a fault in the glass and it ruptures.
Yep.
Or there's something wrong in the process. Maybe you put far too much fermentable sugar in there and it just...
Somehow, I don't know how I could have done that, but again, that leads back to the consistency of just adding it to the whole batch before you bottle.
Right.
You're much less likely to have these issues.
So having them in a contained environment means if something goes wrong, it'll be contained in that environment rather than all over your kitchen or whatever room you are storing them in.
So we're gonna do that. See you in a couple weeks. All right, so it's been 2 weeks, and this was carbonating for almost that whole time. Yesterday, we put one of them into the fridge, and today we find out if we have enough carbonation. And final taste. Got my MacGyver knife handy. Here we go. You ready? You ready? Got a little hiss. I don't think we have a lot of carbonation. Sometimes it can take a long time. Oh, that's actually pretty reasonable carbonation. I mean, it's not like, huge frothy head, but this is not a beer.
Right.
This is a mead. So it's going to be more like a cider
Yeah.
in that way, that it's not going to have this huge
If you think about
head
that,
retention.
when you pour a cider that's carbonated and when you pour a beer that's carbonated, they react very differently. And that's because of the different makeup of the proteins and whatnot that's in liquid.
But
we got bubbles.
Yeah, there's bubbles. And it's nice and clear.
Yeah.
Little teeny tiny hint of haze, but not too much. Smells like mead. Wow. I smell the hops.
That smells really nice, actually.
It really does. That smells good.
Oh.
It's got like the citrusy hop thing going on because we use the Citra hops. I think that might be my new favorite hops. But anyway, are you ready to go in?
I am.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's really nice.
What you have to understand about this is hopped and dry, okay?
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
Yeah, our ending specific gravity was 1.000.
And I think, this is like 4.5% alcohol. But what's really interesting is I'm still getting a honey character.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to. I was afraid we might.
It has a light refreshing and crispness that is brought to us by the Citra hops,
And the bubbles.
and the bubbles, which makes this like fantastic. I feel
This is lawnmower
this is
mead. Like after you mow the lawn and you're all hot and sweaty,
it's your reward.
you sit down and crack open one of these, or two or three, This is really good. I'm very pleasantly surprised. It has a seltzer-like quality to it.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's got more. It's seltzer it's like honey flavored seltzer, which is kind of what a session mead is when you think about it.
Yeah. The flavor profile, I would say, is much closer to a cider
Oh yeah.
than to a beer if you're trying to find a comparison. But it is nice. It is refreshing. It is crisp.
I think we nailed the hop addition perfectly. And this was just dry hopped. So that's why, we're not getting a lot of bitterness from the hops.
No.
This still comes across as slightly sweet.
Yeah.
Even though it's completely dry according to the numbers. And I think it's because when you cook the hops, like boil them, adds bitterness. And that's one thing that you do with beer because it overcomes the sweetness of beer.
There's also the carbonic acid from the carbonation.
Yeah.
But because our brains are so programmed that carbonated beverages equal sweet, and you have that little bit of honey profile in there, it has an elevated sweetness.
I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
I figured this is going to be the simplest one we make, easiest thing, and it's probably going to be lacking. I mean, don't get me wrong. This wouldn't necessarily be the first thing I'd reach for if I was looking for a drink, but it's actually very nice.
It's not overly complex, but I don't feel like it's watery. Where lots of times the lighter ABV with the dryness combo tends to make it feel less of a beverage.
Yeah. This still feels full.
We're actually going to talk about the science of flavors and how to use your words to describe flavors. Now that I'm fumbling trying to find the words, on a podcast coming up on the Ferment Station.
Now, people have asked too, how much do you get in the bottom of a bottle when you use insurance yeast? Not much. I mean, I'm going to waste about that much liquid in the bottom of that bottle just because I can't do the sediment thing. But, if you let that sit for a minute, you could probably drink that too.
I sometimes nurse them and get more out.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
don't worry
little
about it.
tiny bit.
It's like 2 sips. I'm just not all that concerned. But you can tell that there is a little bit more because mine's more cloudy than yours now.
Yeah.
Doesn't taste any different though.
My biggest complaint is that I got bubbles on my glasses.
Yeah, it bubbles right out of the glass. I just love these little glasses that we got. We got them just recently, right? I found them online.
Yep.
We needed something for tasting things just like this. That was like a mini beer glass. So these are great. They're so adorable. I love the tasting glass
Yeah.
collection type things.
He has this thing for
Small
petite versions of a normal size thing.
That's why I like little cats.
Whatever gives you joy, don't deny yourself that.
If you've watched our show any length of time, you've seen us stand next to each other. Explains a lot. Sitting, it's not so different because I tend to hunch.
Yeah.
But standing up, yeah, I'm
about
almost a foot taller than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, back to this. If you're looking to make a really simple, super crispy session mead that, I mean, literally, what did this take? This is like 4.5 weeks old. I mean, we started this July 1st. Today is August 5th. It's literally 4.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's done. It's super easy, 4.5%. I mean, don't get me wrong. You drink a couple, 2 treaties, you're still going to feel it, you know? But this is nice.
If you really enjoy the hopped experience and you're tired of drinking beer, it can happen, sure.
Yeah, this is almost like, it's not quite IPA level hops.
No, but it's hoppy.
It's half to 2/3 of the way to an IPA level hopped session mead, which we might have to try that.
Sure.
Might have to try making an IPA mead. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Let us know what you think about hopped meads and what direction you'd like to see us experiment with next.
Yep. And as always, we have to put a score on this before we quit. What the heck? All right, so right now you should be seeing our scoring system on the screen. Consists of numbers 1 through 10. But there's some super secret stuff in there, like a 0 and an 11, just because some stuff really sucks and other stuff is super stupendous. I am so not sure where to put this.
I feel like I'm going to be judging this unfairly because it's really not my wheelhouse. This is not a Derica beverage.
Okay.
It's not berry. It's not punchy on flavor. The punchiest part is the hops.
Yeah, it's hoppy.
Which
Hop forward.
I am not opposed to.
No, we've actually both learned to appreciate the hop.
But after mowing the yard, I would definitely look for this. But other than that,
Yeah. Okay. I might. This seems like the kind of thing that I would drink when we're playing D&D.
Mm-hmm.
I reach for a beer now and then for that. It seems like this could be a beer replacement.
It's an easy drinker.
Yeah, really, that's what it is. It's an easy drinker. Do you have a number?
I do.
I'm so torn. I'm going to average down on my number just because I feel like I should. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 8.
6.5.
I averaged down. I was at 8.5.
Yeah.
But this goes with taste too.
Absolutely.
She said this isn't her wheelhouse. It's much closer to mine. But even still, this isn't really my wheelhouse either. If you had given me this a year ago, I wouldn't have liked it at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I would not have appreciated it at all. Now I'm like, I'm glad we got several more bottles because I will put them in the fridge as soon as there's room.
All right.
There's no room right
We
now.
have mini fridges.
Yeah, they're full. We have to get another mini fridge, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. By the way, in case you haven't figured it out, see, there's no microphones attached to our chest because it's up there because we're in the new studio.
Yep.
I know it probably looks just like we're back in the house in
But we
St.
warned
Pete.
you about that.
Yeah, we told you it was going to look just like it.
Spock's back on the shelf and so is the play button.
Spock, our play button, and various other things that probably weren't there before.
Yeah, I sneak stuff in there without talking to Brian about it first.
Yeah. We asked the VIPs for ideas on what you'd like to see on our shelves of mystery. We got a lot of varying ideas, some appropriate, some not so appropriate. So I figured let's open it up to you guys. What would you like to see on the shelves? Things that we've had on there before have been like all the liquors that we have, which are actually there. They're just higher. You can't see them right now.
Well, there's some
Our brews. There's
over
some
here,
liquors. Yeah, that's true.
some over there.
There's a whole other shelf above it that
Yeah.
you can't see. We keep our play button on there. There's various memorabilia. She sometimes changes it out for the holidays.
Yeah.
But also we used to have like all of our old D&D books on there.
Yeah.
No one actually seemed to care about that,
No,
even
nobody
though
mentioned
in
that.
the old days we got a lot of comments about that. So I was just curious.
Not to drag this video on, but
Yeah.
part of the reason why I didn't add them to the collection is we actually set up our library before we set up the studio.
Yeah. So they're actually in a different part of the house.
So they're in the library. But we also thought, perhaps, because we don't have 2 bajillion other things going on, that we'd bring the D&D channel.
Oh
back.
yeah.
So
D&D Beyond the Roll. The channel actually exists. We didn't take it down.
Nope.
It only has like 10 videos on it.
yeah. So if that's something that you are interested in as well, let us know in the comments below, particularly about what content you'd like to see on there.
Well, I can tell you right now, it won't be your typical, like, figuring out how to do the most damage and numbers and stuff. It'll be more theoretical.
Beyond the Rule was the name chosen for reasons.
Yeah.
Because
it's not just about rolling dice.
Right.
Anyway, so that's a whole other channel.
Yeah.
Do you think we can keep one of these for a year?
We can certainly try.
Or several months at least. Maybe we'll do a 6-month on these. I don't know. We talked about doing that before. But yeah, let's try to put one away.
Okay.
And that way I can drink the rest. And we'll do one on the tasting room, which is one of our other channels, by the way. We have the tasting room, and then we have the ferment station, and there's also Beyond the Brews. See, we've just expanded. You know, we have so many new things happening. It's kind of cool. Having the studio opens up a lot of possibilities for us, though, and it just works.
Talked about that long enough.
Yes, we have.
Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully
my closing.
You will enjoy a hop session mead of your own.
I'm going to do it anyway. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.